hours of paid sick time per year. For businesses with 20 or more employees, workers may earn up to 56 hours of earned paid sick time per year. Workers will accrue 1 hour of paid sick time for every 30 hours worked, and employers who already have paid sick leave policies that exceed the minimum standards outlined here would not have to change their policies. Initiative 436 also contains important comprehensive provisions to ensure paid sick leave can be used effectively to the benefit of both workers and employers. It prohibits employers from retaliating against workers who use or try to use paid sick leave. There are also notice and documentation requirements and enforcement provisions if there have been violations of the law. If passed, Initiative 436 would go into effect on October 1st, 2025. For nearly a decade, workers' rights advocates and hardworking Nebraskans have tried to pass paid leave policies through the Nebraska legislature. After failure by lawmakers to recognize and support the needs of working families in Nebraska, our coalition and volunteers have worked tirelessly to connect with Nebraskans across the state over the course of this campaign. We collected over 138,000 signatures from 89 counties before qualifying for the November ballot. We have attended countless events, engaged with a diverse set of communities, heard many stories from directly affected Nebraskans about their experiences without paid sick leave or inability to use the paid leave they do have for fear of retaliation. Additionally, we have garnered the support of over 200 local businesses. Through this organizing work, it is clear that Nebraskans overwhelmingly favor ensuring that every hardworking Nebraskan can earn and use paid sick leave to care for themselves or their loved ones. Having access to paid sick days would have an immediate and meaningful impact for working Nebraskans, their families, and our communities. According to a Nebraska benefits report released in 2021, more than a third of the state's full-time employees had no paid sick leave in 2020, while 86% of part-time employees were without any sick leave. We've talked to numerous Nebraskans in all corners of our state who did not have paid sick leave in a previous job or currently did not have access to it. Workers described difficult and stressful circumstances when they or a family member were sick. Not only did they have to worry about tending to their health or their family member's health, but they also had to grapple with the choice between working while sick or being absent from work and missing pay. The consequences of working while sick meant longer recovery times, spreading illness, or delaying much-needed medical care. We have also seen companies institute penalties through schemes such as point systems, which layer additional pressures to work while sick or even avoid using sick time if it is provided. The consequences of staying home can mean lost wages or even losing one's job. For lower income families, losing just a few days of wages can place severe strain on a household's budget for critical necessities, according to the Economic Policy Institute. For an average worker earning between $50,000 and $69,999 per year, just 1 half day of unpaid sick time removes spending for fruits and vegetables. 2 days of unpaid sick time equals 1 month worth of gas. 3 days cut into monthly utilities, leaving open the grim possibility of getting cut off from heat or electricity. 5 days could eliminate a household's entire grocery budget. Nebraska's economy should reward hard work, not punish people for getting sick. Not only will paid sick leave benefit working Nebraskans, their families, and our public health, but it also will provide substantial benefits for local businesses. Over 20 years of research has demonstrated that in states and cities with paid sick leave policies, businesses have seen negligible financial impact. Not only that, but researchers have found that after the adoption of a state or local paid sick leave law, employment increases by an average of 1.5%. Because paid sick leave reduces turnover, businesses save costs with such policies in place. Workers are more productive and are less likely to get injured while working, making workplaces more safe. And with people able to rest and recover at home, there is a reduction in the spread of contagious illness in the workplace. Over 200 Nebraska retail, direct service, small vendor, agriculture, food service, and other businesses have signed on to show their strong support for Initiative 436. These companies have done so because they know it's good for their companies and good for their employees. When businesses invest in an employee's health and wellness, employers reap major benefits. When hardworking employees know they can care for themselves and their loved ones when they get sick without risking financial instability, they can stay focused and productive at work. Nebraskans believe that we should reward hard work and invest in common sense practices to prioritize the health and well-being of our neighbors, families, communities, and local economy. We can live up to and vote for these values by supporting Initiative 436 on the ballot this November. If passed, hardworking Nebraskans will no longer have to face impossible choices such as sending their sick child to school or losing a day's pay. It's time that we were all able to care for ourselves and our families. It is time for paid sick leave for all Nebraskans. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a few housekeeping items that I didn't bring up the first time. If you do have a cell phone, this is the opportunity to turn that off or put it to silent so it doesn't interrupt anyone during the proceedings. Also, as we start the public testimony, I realize I didn't give my spiel about, I will give you 1 minute, 1 minute warning with this very highly sophisticated 1 minute warning signing device. I realized I left my one at home this morning, I will let you know once your time is concluded to wrap up your testimony so we can get to everyone here today. Finally, if you do have written testimony, you can provide it to the court reporter, so it makes it a little easier on him to be able to transcribe your remarks. It's not required. If you're using a tablet and/or a phone for your testimony, he can provide his email, and you can email those remarks to him for the record. So, with that, recognize opponents. We're not available to provide testimony here today. So, written comments from recognized opponents have been submitted to the Secretary of State's office and will be part of the written record for this hearing. So with that, we will go to public testimony. As I explained before, we will go in the order. Some of you have perfect penmanship. Some of you, I can't read well. So please apologize if I do get your name wrong. Your last name is going to trip me up, I may just say a first name. As well. So my apologies for that. I get a little nervous too while I'm up here. So with that, we will go to our first supporter, Andy Salazar. And I know I got that wrong. So.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Anaí Salazar, Anaí, A-N-A-H-I, Salazar, S-A-L-A-Z-A-R, and I am a policy coordinator with Voices for Children in Nebraska. Voices for Children in Nebraska is a nonpartisan, independent voice that advocates for equitable opportunity for children through research, policy, and community engagement. We envision a Nebraska with strong communities where every child has all they need to lead a healthy, secure, and fulfilling life. Paid sick leave is important for Nebraska's children and families. Evidence from states that have already enacted some form of paid leave suggests that it enhances economic well-being, increases caregiver engagement, and improves all family members' health. Access to paid leave increases the possibility of workers returning to their jobs instead of dropping out of the labor force. When workers need to care for themselves or others, some are forced to take unpaid time off, work through health problems, or quit their jobs. Paid leave benefits businesses because it improves worker retention and productivity. Paid leave also helps because it also helps individuals with serious health conditions, making it easy so they can keep their jobs. Data also shows that due to systemic racial disparities, people of color are more likely to not have access to paid leave and also need it the most, as they are more likely to have serious health conditions. Voices for Children particularly supports this initiative because of its anticipated impact on children and youth. Caregivers that work should not have to choose between a paycheck and their health. More children live with working caregivers than not. In 2022, 78% of children in Nebraska had working parents Trying to balance the combating needs of both work and family are much more difficult for single-parent families and low-income families. Paid sick leave allows caregivers to fulfill important caretaking responsibilities without having to forego their paid employment. Paid sick leave also increases the probability that children will receive preventative care. Children who are ill fare better when their parents are able to stay home with them. Young children, especially, need their caretaker to take them to a physician when they are sick. Children who live in low-income households are more likely to have health problems and need a caretaker. But they are more likely to have caretakers without paid leave and who cannot afford to take unpaid leave. Access to paid leave would allow Nebraska's children to have a caretaker and get the resources they need when sick, not prolonging their sickness. Voices for Children in Nebraska supports Ballot Initiative 436 because it will help maintain healthy and stable households for children. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. At this point, we don't have anyone signing in opposition, so I will continue down the supporter list. At any point that a opponent signs in, that will be brought into my office and they'll be slipped in at that point. So next, Michaela from Nebraska Appleseed.
Hi, my name is Michaela Staniak, MICHAYLA I've been working across the state to sign on supportive businesses. I've signed on over 200 of all sizes. I will be speaking on behalf of them today. Reverend Deborah McKnight, the founder and pastor of Urban Abbey, states, "Not long ago, we were emerging from a global pandemic, and it was time when the fractures in our broken system were laid bare. The pandemic further clarified our urgent needs in access to healthcare and sick leave. It benefits us all when people can heal and rest when they are sick. It benefits us all when people can make preventative care appointments or pick up sick kids from school. It benefits us all when survivors of domestic and sexual violence can seek care, when mental health needs can be prioritized, and when working Nebraskans can care for their sick children or aging parents. A healthy community and workplace is an investment and has a high return for all of us." Caring for People Services states, "Plenty of research suggests that productivity is diminished when an employee comes to work while sick. So why not allow our employees time to recuperate and be fully productive when they return to work? This is not only a single impact point, as illnesses can spread swiftly among workers. Nowadays, there is a clear need for a human resources strategy to attract and retain employees, and more than salary alone is needed. Here, a paid time off benefit makes sense as part of said strategy, which will reduce turnover costs in the long run. This is not just a matter of social corporate responsibility, but a commitment to our employees whose main duty is to care for vulnerable populations." Lindsay Clements, co-owner of East Majors, states, "I believe that health and well-being of restaurant workers are crucial, not only for them, but also for the broader community. Sick pay ensures that restaurant workers can take the necessary time off when they are ill without fear of losing their income. This basic protection is critical in an industry where many employees live paycheck to paycheck. By offering sick pay, we help prevent workers from being forced to choose between their health and their livelihood. Sick pay also contributes to higher employee retention and morale. By offering the basic benefit, restaurants demonstrate that they value and respect their employees. This not only reduces turnover, but also fosters a motivated and loyal workforce, leading to a better service and a more positive dining experience for customers." Thank you.
Thank you. And Joy from the ACLU.
Good afternoon. My name is Joy Katharima, JoyKatHurima, and I'm here on behalf of the ACLU of Nebraska in support of Ballot Measure 436. Strong paid sick leave policies are a key component of ensuring equal economic opportunities for all Nebraskans. Passing Ballot Measure 436 recognizes the reality that at some point, almost all employees must take time off work to handle a personal or family member illness. No hardworking Nebraskan should be forced to choose between their health or the health of their family member and a paycheck. The ACLU of Nebraska offers its full support of Ballot Measure 436.
you good? Okay, next, I have Liz Rodriguez.
My name is Liz Rodriguez, Lizrodriguez, and I am the Welcoming and Belongings Director at Centro Hispano in Columbus, Nebraska. Centro Hispano is a 501c3 nonprofit organization founded in 2009, which proudly celebrated its 15th anniversary in August 2024. Our mission is to foster intentional change for immigrant families, learners, and entrepreneurs through direct services, programming, and advocacy. Our core programs, adult education, immigration legal services, business, family outreach, and welcoming and belonging, allow us to empower the immigrant families, learners, and entrepreneurs that we serve. As Director of Welcoming and Belonging, I have the privilege of witnessing how our work provides community members the opportunity to raise their voices, participate, and engage in issues that directly impact their lives, families, and relationship within the community. One such issue is Ballot Initiatives 436, paid sick leaves for Nebraskans. This initiative would allow families to focus on their health rather than worry about lost wages or time off work. At Centro Hispano, we have heard from many community members whose lives have been disrupted by unpaid sick leave or by retaliation for choosing to stay at home whether they or their loved ones are ill. Many feel forced to work while sick because they cannot afford to lose their jobs or go without pay. Take, for example, Gustavo Enrique Montes Velasquez, a Columbus resident in his 60s. He lives in a household with 4 adults, 2 of which hold full-time employment, and a small infant. He has worked in the manufacturing sector at Chemical for about 24 years. Gustavo has shared with us that despite using his paid time off for illness, he has been penalized. Even with a doctor's note, he's received points for missing a day, 1 point if he calls in, 3 points if he doesn't. Gustavo has gone to work feeling terribly ill simply because he's felt that he has no other choice. This initiative matters to people like Gustavo and his coworkers, who would no longer be punished or feel pressured for taking a sick day. It would help them make decisions based on their health without the fear of repercussions tied to point system. Workers deserve the right to take their time that they have earned. As Gustavo says, a key message for Nebraska voters to consider when deciding on paid sick leave is it would be good to have a chance to recover if someone is sick, to show empathy and give employees a chance without punishing them for it. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. And next we have Daniela.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniela de la Cruz, DanielaDelacruz. I'm a community organizer for Centro Hispano, a nonprofit organization located in Columbus, Nebraska. Today, I want to talk to you about the crucial need for paid sick leave initiative. This isn't just a policy issue, it's a human right issue that affects our friends, families, and communities deeply. Let me share a story that highlights why this initiative is so vital. Due to this person's privacy, this testimony will be kept anonymously. Her first name is E, a 58-year-old female who has dedicated over 11 years to her job and would have been 12 years this year at a meat production company in Nebraska, which is one of the biggest well-known global food companies around the world. E is the kind of employee any employer would want, hardworking, dependable, and always willing to go the extra mile to make sure her job is making a positive difference. However, when E fell ill this year, she faced a harsh reality. Even though she had paid time off, she had to make an overwhelming choice. Take time off and risk receiving more points since they run under an accumulated point system, or push through her illness and potentially compromise her health and the well-being of her coworkers and customers, especially working for a well-known food company where food products can be contaminated. Despite her best effort, E accumulated points for her absence due to her illnesses. Each point was a step closer to disciplinary action. In the end, she was let go, simply for needing to take care of her health. She was faced with an overwhelming feeling of trying to figure out how she would pay for her upcoming finances. E is still unemployed today, trying to find a job where she's able to pay for her bills like she used to, trying to find a job where they can hire her, considering she was fired from her former employment in an unfair way. This isn't just E's story. It's the story of countless workers across our state who face similar dilemmas every day, feeling the pressure of having to work over their health or the health of their family members. Paid sick leave is not just about the right to stay home when you're unwell. It's about creating a healthier workforce and a more compassionate society. When workers can have access to paid sick leave, they are less likely to come to work sick, which means fewer illnesses spreading in our communities. It helps protect vulnerable populations like children and elderly, who are at greater risk, and also our food system. Let's ensure the stories like E become a thing of the past. Let's stand together and support the initiative for paid sick leave so that every worker can feel secure in their health and their jobs. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. I got a 50-50 shot here, but Dawn from OTOC or Dana? Yeah, no, you did. Did I get it right the first time? All right. Dawn, okay. The W could have gone either way. There, so.
You work in healthcare, that happens. It's spelled D-A-W-N, last name E-S-S-I-N-K. And yes, I am a member of OTOC, Omaha Together One Community. OTOC is a 31-year-old organization that includes 30 member congregations and organizations from across Douglas County. I am here today to testify in support of Ballot Initiative 436, Paid Sick Leave for Nebraskans, on behalf of OTOC. OTOC joined the Paid Sick Leave Coalition because our members believe that allowing employees to earn paid sick leave is both fair and equitable. We heard many stories during our petition signature gathering in our Get Out the Vote civic academies, including from a mother who had to choose between going to the emergency room where her 1-year-old child had been rushed or potentially losing her job if she didn't stay at work until a replacement could take over her spot on the factory line. This is a decision no parent should have to make. When employees don't have paid sick leave, they have no other choice than to go to work sick, risking at times their lives and the contagion of their coworkers. This became abundantly evident during the COVID-19 pandemic. This kind of perilous work environment diminishes morale and productivity. We can do better for working Nebraskans who are the engine of our economies. OTOC volunteer leaders worked very hard to collect over 2,000 signatures to get paid sick leave on the ballot and to educate nearly 1,000 voters on the initiative. We now call on Nebraska voters from across the state to join with us and vote for 436 and pass this initiative so that all working Nebraskans can take care of their health or the health of their family without risking lost wages. Thank you.
Next, we have Gina Ragland.
Good afternoon. My name is Gina Ragland, J-I-N-A-R-A-G-L-A-N-D. I'm here today on behalf of ARP Nebraska. ARP is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that works across Nebraska to strengthen communities and advocates for the issues that matter most to families, such as health care, employment and income security, retirement planning, affordable utilities, and protection from financial abuse. ARP strongly supports Initiative Measure 436, which would require all Nebraska businesses to offer paid sick leave to employees. Paid leave benefits would help thousands of Nebraskans support their spouses, aging parents, and other loved ones while protecting their financial security. ARP has worked tirelessly for many years to support working family caregivers at the state and federal level. With the option to take paid leave, caregivers, especially women, can stay in the workforce longer. It is estimated that 1 in 5 women leave the workforce earlier because of caregiving responsibilities and lose an estimated $324,000 in wages, benefits, and retirement income. Family caregivers are less likely to be offered paid leave by an employer. In fact, nearly 6 in 10 say their employer does not provide paid family leave. This makes it very difficult for them to fulfill their caregiving responsibilities, whether driving a loved one to a doctor's appointment, taking time off to help someone recovering from surgery, or assisting with activities of daily living such as eating or dressing for a more extended period. Nebraska's family caregivers are the backbone of our long-term care system and play an essential role in caring for their loved ones and delaying expensive long-term care. The economic contribution of Nebraska's 179,000 unpaid family caregivers is estimated to be $2.8 billion annually and growing. Despite the clear financial contributions of caregivers, their emotionally, physically, and financially strenuous work is not recognized with pay when they need to take time off work to care for their loved ones. We're facing a caregiving crisis in the United States, and specifically in Nebraska. As both the workforce and the Nebraska population age, the workplace will include more employees who need to combine elder care responsibilities with their jobs upon which their economic futures depend. Access to paid leave is a vital workplace leave benefit. Many workers, especially low-wage workers, do not have access to any paid leave to care for themselves, let alone family members with caregiving needs. Managing paid work alongside care for an adult family member or close friend with a serious health condition or disability can be challenging for employed caregivers when their needs are not being met by existing policies and programs. Because most family caregivers now hold paying jobs too, employed caregivers need access to workforce leave benefits and other supports to fulfill both their caregiving and paid work responsibilities. Family caregivers should not have to choose between taking care of mom or dad, losing a paycheck, or even risk losing their job. In summary, the benefits of implementing Initiative 436 that would support working family caregivers are clear. It allows older Nebraskans to age in place in the comfort of their homes and communities. It retains women's participation in the workforce. It reduces reliance on long-term care facilities, which are often paid for by taxpayers. And it benefits businesses by reducing turnover, boosting productivity, and enhancing morale. ARP strongly supports Initiative 436, and I thank you for the opportunity to provide comments.
Thank you. Next, we have Craig Moody.
Good afternoon. My name is Craig Moody, C-R-A-I-G-M-O-O-D-Y. I am a ballot sponsor for Initiative 436. I'm the co-founder and managing partner of Verdis Group. We're a Nebraska-based sustainability consulting firm that has been operating in the state for 15 years. And I'm proud to note that over 200 businesses have signed on to support paid sick leave. And I'm also confident that that number of 200 is but a small portion of what I'm sure are hundreds more businesses that are supportive of paid sick leave. Initiative 436 is good for business, it's good for employers, and it's good for employees. When my business partner and I founded Verdis Group in 2009, it was important to us to be a people-first organization. For us, taking care of our people meant making it easy for them to live a full life, one that isn't constrained by an inability to take time off when needed. We provide a variety of benefits to our team, and of course, that includes paid sick leave. When businesses invest in an employee's health and wellness, employers reap major benefits. We have seen time and time again that when hardworking employees know they can care for themselves and their loved ones when they get sick, they can stay focused and productive at work. As a parent, I especially understand how valuable paid sick time is to navigate the unpredictable health needs of your children. In my experience, being good to employees by offering benefits like paid sick leave also helps recruit and retain better talent. I'm pleased to be a ballot sponsor for paid sick leave because I believe that all Nebraskans deserve to have the same benefits that our team at Verdis Group has. Paid sick time creates healthier, sustainable workplaces, improves retention, and benefits businesses, employees, and their families, and our communities as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Linda from Otok, Nebraska Appleseed. Oh, that was a no. I didn't read the no, didn't want to testify. Got it. What's that? Yeah, there are, but this particular person didn't want to testify. I just didn't see that. Next, we have Noel.
Good afternoon. My name is Noelle Tonages. That's spelled Noeltonniges. And I've been organizing with Nebraska Appleseed for the past year, working across Nebraska with working people who have been impacted by a lack of paid sick leave. I've had the opportunity to travel from the southeast corner of our state all the way up to the Sandhills, hearing from community members of the desperate need for this coverage and care. But before I was an organizer, I worked for years in retail, as a nanny, and as a waitress. I started working when I was 16 for minimum wage, like many of us do. From when I started working to when I left the service industry a little less than a year ago, I was never once offered the benefit of paid sick leave. As a college student attending classes and working full-time, when I found myself sick from a cold that was sweeping through the staff of our restaurant, I had no choice but to keep working. When I found myself sick with food poisoning, I would have to run from my tables to the back office, trying desperately to pull myself together because I couldn't afford to give up those tips. When I sliced my hand cutting fruit on the job, I had to stay so I didn't lose out on the money that would fill my tank so I could get home. I wasn't the only person at these restaurants suffering through sickness and injury to keep from losing out on a paycheck. I worked with other students, working parents, and folks who had come out of retirement to keep the lights on. During a global pandemic, we were all considered essential workers, expected to continue working when many others stayed sheltered at home. During the COVID-19 pandemic, bars and restaurants like the ones I worked in were ground zero for outbreaks. I watched other staff ignore symptoms, refuse tests, and delay treatment because we didn't have paid sick leave. I witnessed the threat of job loss from management if staff took off more than a few days consecutively at a time when the CDC was recommending 10-day quarantines. The expectations of these workplaces completely ignored the guidance of healthcare professionals, and I was often left defenseless trying to take care of myself. This paid sick leave policy offers workers like myself the much-needed time off and arguably more important workplace protection that you can take time off to be sick without the threat of job loss. For working caretakers and parents, a lack of paid sick leave took the greatest toll. Some of my closest friends were forced to leave their children when sick, staying by their phone hoping everything was okay, rather than staying by their children. These mothers were some of the hardest working people, showing up every day to support their families, but when they needed support from their employers, nothing was offered. Paid sick leave will change how we care for each other, both on and off the job. I am unbelievably grateful to have a job today that allows me to take care of myself when I need it. It has allowed me to recover from sickness, to show up on the job as the best version of myself. Paid sick leave is beneficial to businesses and employees, but it should not be a privilege. I am voting for Initiative 436 this year to support my friends, families, and communities. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we have Bailey from Nebraska Appleseed.
Good afternoon. My name is Bailey Martin, spelled B-A-I-L-E-E-M-A-R-T-I-N, and I'm a community organizer with Nebraska Appleseed. And I've been working on the paid sick leave campaign for a little bit over a year now. But before that time, I also was in a position where I didn't have any paid sick leave offered through numerous jobs. And I found that through that time working, there have been many instances where personal injury or mistakes and inefficiencies in the workplace could have been avoided had myself or a coworker been able to take time off, make sure they were healthy and at their best, and be able to come into work the next day without any health or mental health issues. Due to this, I can recount many times personally where I was in a position where I had to choose between going into work sick and taking care of myself. Many of these times resulted in sucking it up, getting up, going to work, and making sure I was there so that I would not be penalized or threatened with my job. A very impactful instance of this happened in early 2022, where I was working a construction job where we would be frequently traveling between different communities in the state, painting roads. Many aspects of this job could be considered dangerous, working in close proximity of fast-moving traffic, working with high-temperature paint, typically over 1,000 degrees when directly applied onto the tarmac. And in those situations, you need to be at your best and focused to make sure that you don't get hurt and that the job gets done well. One weekend, we were preparing to go for a trip from Lincoln all the way to Big Springs on the Colorado border. And I ended up getting sick with COVID. I went into my local clinic, got a doctor's note, and was diagnosed positive, though my employer decided to ignore that fact, said that I was going to come into work sick that day and drive to Big Springs, or there would be a strong possibility I wouldn't have a job when they came back from that trip. So, like many times before, I sucked it up, drove a truck full of heavy equipment, the 7-hour drive, about with stops where we would go into restaurants and gas stations, potentially spreading that disease further to more people, while also having a coworker in the passenger seat who was not trusted at the time to drive that vehicle. Given this, having potentially spread this disease all around the state, when we finally got to the hotel, I was told by my supervisor, if I really didn't feel that well, I could just sit in the hotel. And all of that could have been avoided had I had some paid sick time to make sure I could spend time at home, being healthy, making sure that I could recover. So I spent 4 days in a hotel, hours away from home with no pay, making sure that to the best of my ability, I could be healthy again. I was not given a vehicle to be able to get to the one small health clinic in town had my condition worsened, and I was not checked in on by my coworkers. It was that 5th day we were there where I was finally tired of sitting in the hotel and decided to go to work, still sick. I remember the faces of my coworkers in the hotel, eating breakfast, hoping I had been better, and being confused at why I was getting up to work when I was still very sick with COVID. And I remember telling them at that point it was too much to sit in the hotel when not only was I not working and not getting paid, but not getting better. So throughout the rest of that trip, I went in and spent that time working and drove back and was not given any sort of compensation for my sick time, much less was I paid for the time not working. And due to this, I think that it is very important that we change how we see our workers and how we treat them. And paid sick leave for all Nebraskans and voting for Initiative 436 is a great step to start that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Joe Giles.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe Giles. It's Jogiles. I'm the Executive Director of the Women's Fund of Omaha and a personal ballot sponsor for the Paid Sick Leave for Nebraskans campaign. Our mission at the Women's Fund of Omaha is to boldly advance community-driven actions that innovate, advocate, and shift systems toward gender equity. We are in our 34th year focusing on and funding initiatives that impact all women and girls so that we can reach our full potential. Our work on economic security as part of a coalition of other nonprofit advocates began with economic initiatives that disproportionately impact women and women of color. We started our ballot initiative efforts with payday lending in 2018, Medicaid expansion in 2020, Raise the Wage in 2022, and now paid sick leave in 2024. We turn to the ballot initiative process for each of these policy issues due to a lack of response in our state legislature year over year. For example, we attempted to pass paid sick leave policies for nearly a decade in the legislature before turning to the more expensive and challenging process of bringing the issue directly to Nebraska voters. From our standpoint as an organization, paid sick leave is a common sense approach and widely supported because most people have been sick at some point in their working lives. And for women who additionally have caregiving responsibilities with either elderly family members or kids, it's important that they have access to paid sick leave time so that they can take the time off they need without missing a paycheck. Women in service sector jobs are 11 percentage points less likely than men to have access to paid sick leave. Additionally, 43% of working mothers, which includes 54% Latina and 42% Black mothers, don't have access to paid sick leave. Without paid sick days, working mothers face impossible choices: either send their sick kid to school or lose a day's pay. Sending their sick kid to school or daycare risks making their child sicker and infecting other kids, but skipping work could mean missing out on a paycheck needed for prescriptions to put food on the table or pay rent or medical bills. Letting working people earn sick days is common sense and supports our Nebraska values. That includes letting people take care of sick kids or aging parents without losing their income. As one of the ballot sponsors and a working mom, I believe it's time to care about Nebraskans and their families. Initiative 436 will mean hardworking Nebraskans won't have to choose between the paycheck they need and their health or their family's health. I urge all Nebraskans to vote for Initiative 436, paid sick leave. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I just want to clarify for the record, just really quickly, I think you may have reversed two of the dates of the initiatives.
I might have.
Medicaid
was in
2018.
2018, and payday
was 2020.
2020.
So
Thank you.
They start to all
They all
come
blend together.
Thank you. And next we have Mackenzie from out in Nebraska.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony today. My name is Mackenzie Lonke, Mackenzie Loncké, and I am the Policy Fellow at Out Nebraska, a statewide nonpartisan nonprofit working to celebrate and empower LGBTQ+ Nebraskans. Yeah, sorry, I can be a fast talker. Out Nebraska speaks today in support of ballot initiative number 436, the Paid Sick Leave Initiative. Paid sick leave is essential for a thriving and welcoming working community. Nebraskans take pride in working hard, contributing to our communities, and caring for our families. No Nebraskan should have to choose between a paycheck and the health of themselves or their family. No Nebraskan should fear retaliation from their employer for staying home with a sick kid or with their spouse if their spouse is recovering from surgery. Initiative number 436 closes the gap of inequality amongst hardworking Nebraskans. This is especially true for members across the entire spectrum of LGBTQ+ identities, as many people in our community often come up underemployed or work in positions that don't afford them paid sick leave. This initiative is a special need for the LGBTQ+ community. For example, in order to access the competent and compassionate medical care needed by trans individuals, paid medical leave makes all the difference in saving time, money, and for peace of mind. Along with this, because competent and compassionate care for LGBTQ+ people as a whole in Nebraska is lacking, much of our community has to travel, sometimes even out of state, to receive the care that they need. We all deserve the essential opportunity to care for ourselves and for those we love, and paid sick leave allows us to do so. When people have access to care for themselves and their family without the loss of their paycheck, Nebraska thrives and we build healthier communities where each of us can live with dignity. Paid sick leave is a foundational component of the health and well-being of our society. For these reasons and for many more spoken here today, we support initiative number 436 and the right for paid sick leave to be accessed by Nebraskans. Thank you.
Thank you. just checking with the front to see if we have any other testifiers.
I signed the thing, but I probably signed it under the wrong thing.
Okay, yep. Feel free, yeah, if you would like to come up.
Bear with me, because this is my first hearing, but I was asked to attend.
First,
My name is Michelle, M-I-C-H-E-L-E, Hatch, H-A-T-C-H.
and are you testifying as a proponent or
Small,
opponent?
I'm actually neutral.
Neutral? Okay,
Okay.
no problem.
It's not going to seem that way, but mainly because I have a lot of questions that goes with this. But first of all, I do want to say that I take care of an elderly mother who lives out of state, who requires my time. I am a small business owner. I do have a husband who worked for a Fortune 500 company that got let go, who had a sick leave policy, but it doesn't matter. It's just a policy, so if a company wants to let you go, they're going to let you go. And they are going to define some type of parameters to this initiative regardless, and not because people are not going to be able to be sick for a year on end and be gone and still be covered. It's just, from a business standpoint, it's not possible. But with that being said, my question is, why is the initiative a one-size-fits-all? Because as a small business owner, I don't have that many employees, and I can't afford to do what a Fortune 500 company can do. So I think that there's some things that need to be fixed in the initiative itself. I don't feel temporary employees should be allowed to be a part of that initiative. If you're not investing in the company that you want to work for and you're only there temporary, then you're not invested. And a company's going to take that standpoint, and I'm just coming from a company standpoint on that. However, on the flip side of that, as someone who takes care of an elderly mom and has been sick myself, I do believe there is an initiative that needs to be set forth in Nebraska. I do believe that there needs to be some type of tax benefit, either to the companies who offer this or even to the individuals in that who participate, so that you don't have people going out and going fishing for a whole week to take paid leave and are actually utilizing it for what they should be utilizing it for. Because for me, I have to go out of state to take care of my mother, so that takes time and money and resources to do that. And if I'm sick myself, I can't do anything either. So I understand where everyone's coming from with that. All I'm suggesting is that maybe take a look at the terminology and some of the wording that's in this and replace some of the things. I think you'd get a few more companies on board with actually doing the initiative. It's just no company's going to give a temporary employee benefits when they're not invested in their company. And I feel like maybe some type of tax incentive, a point system is not going to work. You're going to get people who are going to want to do that point system. But if a tax benefit is there to the company to offer such program, I think that would be beneficial. And I also think that for the people who don't need to utilize it and not, they're going to feel like they're being left out. So offer them some type of tax incentive if they don't need it, for the people that don't need to use it. And so you don't end up with people just going fishing for 2 or 3 days just to have paid leave. But that's me. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room that is wishing to want to testify for or against or in a neutral capacity? Please.
My name is Linda Ori, that's Linda Ori, O-H-R-I, and I'm speaking on my own behalf. For the last 5 years, since I retired from Creighton, I have been a volunteer with the St. Vincent de Paul Conference to help our neighbors apply for assistance for rent and utilities such as MUD and OPPD. Often I have heard from people working full or part-time jobs who lost their job or pay due to their own or a child's or another family member's health problem, requiring time off for work, which they did not get paid for. A loss of even a few days can put low-wage earners without sick leave into jeopardy, with inability to pay their full rent or their gas or electric bills. A couple people I think of in the last year, one was a woman with 2 children already, had worked for several years for a fairly major hotel company doing cleaning, had to have a C-section, and was going to have to return to work in less than 6 weeks because she had no paid leave and she needed the money to support her family. As a parent myself, that seemed to be, in a health professional, that just seemed to be totally unfair. Another neighbor that we helped was a woman who had a generally pretty good job, but was caring for 3 young grandchildren because of her daughter's mental health problems. All 3, again, as a parent, we kind of know this can happen, had health problems in a fairly close time frame. So she ended up losing her job because she had to be off work. You know, in these situations, companies lose good workers. Workers lose jobs that they may have had for a long time. And their families aren't being cared for. This is not what we're about as Nebraskans or Americans. Because of this, I speak in favor of Initiative 436. Thank you. And I just have hand scratches. I don't think it'd help you. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the room that would like to speak for, against, or neutral on the initiative? All right, with that, I will now begin with ending remarks and invite Jody to come up to provide closing remarks for the proponents.
Hello again. As you've heard today from proponents of Initiative 436, paid sick leave for all Nebraskans is a valuable and common sense policy. Currently, too many hardworking Nebraskans do not have access to any paid sick leave to care for themselves or their loved ones. Working families are the engine that drive our economy, and paid sick leave would strengthen our communities. This is not a one-size-fits-all policy, but rather a chance for working Nebraskans to earn just 1 hour of paid sick leave for every 30 hours worked. Workers need paid time off to take care of themselves and their families just as much as the wealthy executives who already get sick leave and other benefits. Just 2 years ago, voters passed an increase to minimum wage that strengthens the economic security of working families in our state. Now it's time to finally ensure that if you work and get sick, you won't lose pay to take care of your health. Paid sick leave is also good for business and our local economy. It would create healthier and sustainable workplaces, improve retention, and increase productivity. It's time to make Nebraska work for working families and ensure that hardworking Nebraskans have what they need to not just survive, but to thrive. We urge Nebraskans to vote for their values and say that no one should have to choose between a paycheck and their health or the health of their family by supporting Initiative 436. Thank you.
Thank you. Recognized opponents have waived their right for closing, and this concludes this hearing on Initiative 436. Script was not right, and I knew that. Again, the most ballot measures we've had on one ballot, so thank you to all the testifiers, and thank you for the proponents and opponents, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Those of you who submitted written comments to the Secretary of State's office, we have 1 comment supporting the initiative and 0 comments opposing the initiative. I'd like to thank Jackie and Mia for helping us today and helping me be able to conduct this hearing. Thanks to the University of Nebraska of Omaha for providing this great venue to have this hearing in the Congressional District. And finally, For those of you in public and on the live stream, the reason why we are doing this is because there are 6 initiatives that are on the ballot on November 5th. And we encourage you to vote on November 5th or earlier if you so choose. Your ballot is waiting for you. Go cast it, and this hearing is adjourned.